Welcome everybody at 6:34 p.m. I will call this meeting to order. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you'd please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Rory, if you call roll, please.
Yes, Councilmember Billings. Here. Glover.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
And Gettle.
Here. Thank you. All right, recognition of Harvest Days Committee and Hoops event planning. Can I have Mackenzie, Rebecca, Mike, and Aaron come up to the podium here? Well, Matt's gonna grab stuff, I think. Matt and I said we would tag team this, but we didn't really talk through the details. But we just wanted to take a minute just to tell you how thankful we were for all of the work that you all did for Harvest Days. For Mike and Rebecca, this is your third year now that you've done this. That is an incredible amount of volunteer time dedicated to our community. Every year that you all have been involved with it, it's been gone off with, there's been a few hitches, but mostly it's gone off without a hitch. Mackenzie, thank you for all of your work on this. I think everybody was appreciative of having Hoops events come on. And so thank you. And this was also your third year? Second year, okay.
It was Tanya's third, though. So
Tanya's
I don't
third,
know.
your second, okay.
Yeah.
And Aaron, this is your first year taking it on. A huge amount to learn coming into this role and being told, hey, you're going to both help put together this festival and a parade on top of it. So thank you for all of your work. Matt here has some certificates of appreciation, which is not the thing I wanted you to have in your hand. You just give. Yeah.
We need to rehearse this next year.
It is truly an immense amount of work that I know go into this. And again, just really appreciate the sacrifices you all take for this away from your friends and family, your loved ones, also that you can help our community have a great event. And we are deeply grateful for that.
Thank you.
So this next thing, and I didn't know if I was going to go into it, but Molly's not here, so what does it matter? If you all remember during Harvest Days, all of a sudden folks were running around and mentioning that a golf cart was missing. And one of our golf carts disappeared during the event. With the help of PD, we discovered that somebody decided that it would be fun to take the golf cart and disappear with it and take it up the street. And so what a better way to recognize all of your work this year than a really fun little golf cart for the memory that was the one little hiccup that we had this year. Otherwise, it was amazing. The weather mostly worked out for us.
We still got the golf cart back.
We got the golf cart. I believe it was Aaron got to drive it back with, which I'm a little jealous of, that she got to ride the golf cart on a road, a full street, just to get it back to the park. And then our friend who took the golf cart came back for more, and PD were able to pick him up. So it was perfect. Really, really great. Hey, look, you're sitting down. Do you want to say something?
I do. I also want to thank you for everything that you have done over the last several years. We are starting to get into a transitioning phase where there are people who have said that they don't want to do it again, who have spent their time and are happy to move on to other things. There are people who moved to other states. And so it's sort of sad because we've had this core group for 3 years now. And I do think that, we're with all of the work that you do, it has definitely made my job easier, which is not what the goal of this is, but I appreciate it. I do want to tell one story myself for everyone. One of my jobs is to make sure that the weird stuff doesn't get to you guys. That we deal with it in advance and that it doesn't become a problem. And that's oftentimes what their job as well is, to make sure that they're dealing with the weird stuff before it even gets to me. However, the week of Harvest Days this year, I was at my kid's soccer game, and I got a phone call from one of the Harvest Days committee members. And what you might not know is that there is a feeling that it is not appropriate amongst the sumo community to wear shorts underneath their, what is it called again? Moashi. Underneath their thank you. Underneath their moashi. And it was one of the things that I have really impressed upon them, is that shorts are a requirement for a community event during sumo wrestling. But I got a phone call the week of Harvest Days to inform me that a person that they had brought in for the event did not come with compression shorts. And so we had to go through and talk about, well, that's a requirement. And they said, we don't know where to get 7XL shorts. And so therefore, we're not going to be able to get anything before the event. Can we continue on like this? Now, without getting into all the details or all that kind of stuff, I have never thought that I would ever have to be dealing with a question about the proper garb for a sumo wrestler. But this group does deal with that stuff on a meeting by meeting. They're dealing with different things that are in that realm and handling them in a way that is tremendously professional, more professional than probably me telling this story. And anyways, and so for all of the normal things you do and for all of the abnormal things that you guys deal with, we're very appreciative of all the work that you put into this. They started meeting last year, really like in September, right after the Harvest Days meeting. And then that was to debrief. And then in October, they were rolling on what was going to happen in the next year. And the meetings are regular. The meetings are long. And we get a good event because of all the work that you put in. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can Laura, can we get a photo?
And did you find any shorts for them?
He wore pajamas.
Right over
So I guess one person said something.
Yeah, just like right here on one side of the podium.
He didn't. In the end, he didn't.
Say golf cart.
1, 2, 3.
Sometime we're gonna get you.
Thank you all. We very much appreciate you.
Oh, it's like
All right, next up we have the Unified Fire Authority report. Chief Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I thought I had a really good opening joke tonight on time travel, but none of you really liked it.
good job.
Like it.
Okay, that's the best I got tonight. I don't have a whole lot, just maybe a mile-high view of some UFA activities for the past month of August. It's a little early in the month for me to have the third quarter report, so the next time I'm up here, I'll be happy and share that with you. And I think we're going to add, in addition to the operations statistics, the fire calls and EMS calls and all of that. We're going to add the fire prevention activities for your city for the last quarter, which were pretty significant. And I'll talk about that a little more, but that really helps your community and economic development and your businesses. And I think it's some important information. We'll probably be sharing that with other cities throughout UFA for each individual city. So anyway, I'll jump right into this recruitment efforts. UFA, we invited 181 of the top testing candidates to go through the firefighter physical agility test. Out of that, 154 were interviewed and then banded into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. And now we're going to start gathering background information and making final decisions on the final 36 candidates to offer jobs to. And the camp will start, the training camp will start the first week of February. A few of the top candidates, I think it's like 6 to 12, have been offered positions in our special fall camp, which is going to start mid-October. We've been very busy on the wildland urban interface realm of our division. Our wildland division, they've been assigned to incidents in Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, and California, assisting with suppression efforts. We've had an EMAC deployment in August 7th. That's the Emergency Management Assistance Compact. Think of mutual aid with our cities here, like if we need help, Sandy or some other city can come in and assist us and we can assist them. It's like that on a national level with wildland efforts. We responded to one in California, August 7th. They were assigned to the park fire in California. The group included Assistant Chief Riley Pilgrim as the Utah representative and Division Chief Anthony Widdison, along with several others. And they returned late August, so they were gone quite a bit. Other than that, I just would like to share a quick August safety message. Nearly 300 children die from burn injuries in the United States every year, with another 100,000 being admitted to a hospital for treatment of burn-related injuries. So we want to encourage adults and parents to keep their children safe and away from fire or a fire source that could ignite their clothes. A lot of the clothes today are polyester, right? Catches fire very quickly. So keep them away from any fire source that could ignite their clothes, like a match, a lighter, a candle, a fireplace, campfire, stove, or barbecue. And teach them to remember the stop, drop, and roll. If their clothes do catch fire, stop where you are, drop to the ground, lay flat with your legs straight out, cover your eyes and mouth with your hands, roll over and over, back and forth until the flames are out. And teach your children to get help from a grown-up right away. I'll be sure and send that message on to Laura so she can post it on your social media. But we think that's a very important message to help protect our children. That's all I have. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we'll move into public comments. Any person wishing to comment on any item not otherwise scheduled for a public hearing on the agenda may address the city council at this time by stepping to the microphone and stating their name for the record. Just so our audience is aware, we do have one public hearing tonight, which is a large-scale master plan in the Jordan Bluffs area. So if you're here for that, you'll have your ability to give public comment later, but if it's something else, now's your time. You can step forward to the microphone, give your name for the record. Do we have any public comments?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mackenzie, and I'm a board member of the East Riverwalk HOA. Not sure if you guys are familiar with what HOAs are, but they're privately owned. The city does maintain 2 of our roads in our HOA, which is Suzanne Drive and Presidio. The crime has been at an all-time high in the last summer. I've lived there 10 years, and the crimes that are being committed are damaging HOA sprinklers, drip lines in the common areas, climbing on cars, motorcycles at our HOA park, We've caught people underage drinking and smoking and urinating in our HOA park, damaging personal property, houses being egged, fences being vandalized with graffiti, and they've now made a makeshift barber shop in our common area where they cut somebody's hair. That resident has asked them to leave, and they chose not to. UPD has been called, several reports have been filed all summer. The UPD states that if they aren't committing a crime, there's nothing really they can do because they're on common property, which that common area is our HOA's property. Unless it's considered trespassing, but then the resident has to call and not a board member. I recently called for a member because he doesn't speak well English, and I was told that there was nothing that could be done. I've spoken to Canyon Crossing because it seems to be that the kids from Canyon Crossing are coming over in our community, and I've asked them to help us come up with a resolution for the last 5 years. They said to submit videos and pictures in order to identify them, which I have, and they said there's nothing we can do. Again, I can confirm that these kids live at that community. So again, going back to the pathway, East Riverwalk has an HOA pathway that we maintain that is connected to Canyon Crossing. I was told, I just got on the board a couple years ago, that the city will not allow us to close that pathway because they want access from 700 West to the Jordan River Trail. Well, we don't have access to the Jordan River Trail. It was brought to our attention to build a bridge so that we could have access, but I was told by the city that was over $500,000, and then they will not pursue that, which I understand. But again, we're asking maybe we can get resolution on either closing this pathway because we are not getting what the city promised us, and we're getting a lot of kids from these communities, Canyon Crossing community, and we're hoping maybe that could deter them. If they want to continue using our pathway to get to Bingham Junction, our HOA is totally fine with that as long as they are respectful. The last couple of months, they have not been respectful. There was a call made to Bingham Junction where there was a fight club. A bunch of Hillcrest High kids, probably about 100 of them, set up a fight, and they were boxing each other. There was blood involved. I ended up calling the police because I got notification that there was going to be a fight. I don't want that in my community. Several neighbors have contacted us as an HOA asking for a resolution. I don't have any resources other than hiring security, and at that point, our HOA does not want to do that, so I'm looking as help from the city councilman today to either help provide some resources or a permanent solution for these crimes that are being committed. Because like I said, these neighbors are getting very frustrated. I love my community. I love where I live. I live on the edge of Midvale. I don't want to move, but it has caused some neighbors to move and threaten their lives. I don't know how throwing rock chips at people's houses is threatening, but there has been a lot of people concerned about this, and so I'm here to speak on behalf of my HOA for some type of resolution. Thank you.
Mackenzie, can I ask a question? Over here.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for that, by
Of
the way,
course.
because I know you've reached out to me with some of these concerns. Some of your neighbors have as well. Do you notice, at least if we can pinpoint a specific time where it is more likely to occur? Is it like after school hours, before?
So during the summer, it's pretty much all the time. The Bingham Junction Park fight was after 10 o'clock. Now that school's in session, it seems like it's getting better, but this barber shop that they set up at our neighbor's house was just this last week. I got in touch with Detective Gazaway, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, and she's gonna try and help me, but I'm just hoping that maybe we can come up with some solution, whether it be to finish the pathway like we were promised, or I don't wanna close the pathway because our community likes to access 7th West as well, but if that's gonna be the resolution, then that's what I want.
And I know it's kind of a maze back there.
Yes.
So if that pathway were closed, wouldn't there be another?
Yes,
you
and
could
that-
just go through the Winco parking lot.
Right, that is a concern. They can enter through Presidio and come through and use our pathway as well. That's why I said closing the pathway may not be like a permanent solution, but maybe it'll let the kids know, hey, you're not allowed here. I don't know if they're coming into our community so that they can get away with some of the stuff that their parents don't know about. I don't know, but they have a park. They have a playground. They have And I don't want to deter them from not using Bingham Junction, but if they can't be respectful and walk that way and back, I have told, because I live on the pathway, my backyard is the pathway, I have set up cameras, a lot of neighbors have, and we have asked them, you know, don't damage our sprinklers, just walk. Well, they kind of got nasty with my husband and I, and so now we don't even want to approach them, just because we don't know if they do have some type of, you know, defense weapon or whatever. And recently, it was just the other day, I found a condom at our park, which I don't want my 6-year-old son picking that up. Or use needles. We found those in the last 5 years. I don't want our kids not to be able to use our park because someone else is being disrespectful.
And is that the park by DeLorean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
So
there's Bingham Junction Park, which anyone can go there.
which anyone can go,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
because that's the city park. But yes, our HOA park, I even have, my HOA lady asked if we can get a trespassing affidavit for those common areas, which I did get that notarized. I was told to file that with the police department. I went there last week and the girl at the office didn't know what I was talking about or how to handle that. So I feel like I've been taking measures, whether it be going to Canyon Crossing and coming up with a solution without getting authority involved, but now it's gotten worse. And so I'm kind of lost. And I'm kind of getting the runaround. A police officer told me there's nothing they can do because that's common area. Well, it's common area that we own. And us homeowners pay a lot of money to have that nice community.
I think what I can do anyway is maybe start an email thread with the city manager and the mayor and see if we can think of any ideas and maybe include Chief Thomas as well, see what we can do, because that definitely, you're not the only one seeing these things. You know,
No,
I've heard
and
this from
unfortunately
a number of residents back there.
Right, and I know there is a lot of calls made to Canyon Crossing as well, and I hate to like name them in particular, because there is some really nice people that use the pathway and walk through, but there is this one group of people that we have caught, and we've asked them to leave, and they are just, they don't care. And so, but will they listen to authority? I don't know.
I'll follow you out when you're done here, and then we'll go out there, we'll talk a little bit more, and plan how we can
Okay,
take some next steps.
okay. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, do we have any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to reports. I don't have too much tonight. The Utah League of Cities and Towns Conference is the next 2 days, so I'll be at that. That's just here in Salt Lake City. I don't think I've mentioned this. I applied to be on the League of Cities and Towns Board of Directors. Went through an interview process for that last week, and I should find out tomorrow. It's a pretty competitive process, so I don't know, but it would be great for us if that works out. And they'll announce the slate publicly on Thursday, and I believe I'll find out tomorrow if been selected or not. Otherwise, just for our community, knowing that we have the e-waste and shredding event this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at City Hall. So bring any documents you need shredded and your e-waste, and we'll take that for free.
What is e-waste?
Electronic waste. So you've got batteries or
I'll be here.
yep, all sorts of, yep. If it's electronic and you need to get rid of it, bring it. All right, Councilmember Billings.
Nothing today, Mayor.
Okay, Councilmember Glover.
The only thing I have this evening is there has been a human case of West Nile virus in Utah County. So they want you to be aware that take precautions.
Thank you. Councilmember Robinson.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Brown.
Yeah, I just want to, again, thank the Harvest Days Committee. You guys did a great job. I had a lot of compliments on I normally get pretty good compliments on the parade. They felt like the timing and stuff was better, and I think Glenn also helped with that, maybe with the timing as well. So I just want to thank everyone with the parade. I got a lot. It seemed like, again, people normally like the parade. People felt like it moved good, and I felt like it needed to be said, so I appreciate that. Just as a reminder, your voice is on the ballot. Vote no on the constitutional amendments.
Yes.
Thank
That's
you.
all.
Councilmember Gettle.
Thanks, Mayor. I wanted to mention real quick the tragedy we had in our community this week at the road home. There are a lot of unanswered questions about that situation, but for now, the important thing is the family who was affected by this horrible assault of an infant. I do have some folks who have reached out to me. The road home is in my council district, so there were some people who had some questions about how was that able to happen? You know, what was the status of this person? Because they kept calling him a babysitter, which doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. There was also a thought of like, you know, why was he able to access the roof to go vape, which was in the news stories. So that's all public knowledge. So I felt comfortable mentioning that. But some people had those questions. It doesn't seem like a very safe situation to have people going to the rooftop to vape whatever they might be vaping up there, especially one carrying an infant child up there as well. So again, just want to also recognize our first responders. I don't know how that process went down, whether it was UFA or UPD who got there first, but those are the types of things, you know, when we think about our community policing, you know, we might go to things of like traffic and that sort of thing, but our first responders who get called to these events see such horrific things, and an infant 4-month-old with horrific skull fractures is just a thing I don't think you can prepare another human being to see. So just want to keep the family in our thoughts and also keep our first responders who responded to that situation and saw what they saw at that scene. Thank you for doing what you do, and hopefully we get some answers about that situation as well. Chief, I know you were out in the hallway, but I had a few people reach out about that situation as far as like, you know, why was this guy in there as calling him a babysitter? Like, was he in there with a you know, his own family or something? Or, you know, why are they allowed to vape on the roof of the building, which seems like an extraordinarily bad idea at that particular facility. So those are questions I'll probably ask at a different time, but for now, you know, there's definitely a more important thing to consider at this time with how that case is developing. So just wanted to mention that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, since City Manager Dahl is out in the hallway, we'll move on to the public hearing, which is consider a large-scale master plan request for Jordan Bluffs Phase 3 located at 8090 South Sagini Drive in the Jordan Bluffs 4 zone. We'll hear from Elizabeth.
Do you have a controller for me?
I've got one right here. It was sitting up here for some reason.
Okay, so this may look familiar to some of you. The council did actually, I mentioned this in my report, already approve a large-scale master plan for this area, but the developer did change the plan enough that we thought it would warrant coming back to you. So this is for this highlighted section that you'll see on the map here. This is for a phase 3 of this project. Phase 1 and phase 2 are just north and east of that there. They included a graphic for their site plan that they're moving forward with. It has less buildings, more units, and larger buildings collected here, but fairly similar. Here's a sample of their building elevation. They do have a number of different elevations, so this isn't the only one, but they're all kind of variations of this same product. An image of their landscape plan and also their amenity plan here as well, and then just the recommended motion, unless you have any questions for me.
I mean, I'm glad it's moving forward. I mean, hopefully, you know, the surrounding area, part of the issue I have with that area is there's just a lot of trash and stuff that accumulates on these empty lots, which I just think doesn't look great. So hopefully, you know, there'll be more neighbors and stuff, and the owners of that property will be inclined to keep at least the south side of the road slightly manageable, where there's not mattresses and beer bottles. And I mean, I try to ride my bike down those roads, and it's just so unkempt. It's kind of embarrassing. So hopefully, you know, this one will at least clean up this corner, and there'll be hopefully enough residents that push pressure on the other side of that road, and they'll move forward. Otherwise, you know, I wish I remembered what the other version looked like. Were they more like townhomey? Is that what it was?
Yeah, something to that effect. Slightly different buildings, but the applicant is here. I'm sure he can speak to that.
Just to speak to what Councilmember Brown was talking about, I have noticed back there seems to have been a large-scale cleanup of a lot of the area, so it does look a lot better this year compared to last year, and of course, moving dirt on this particular site will certainly, I mean, you'll have to clean up some of the stuff that's there. So I think that'll be a good thing. One thing I wanted to note with this, especially on Saguini Drive as it intersects with Ivy, we have a bike lane in there now that is very frequently filled with cars that park there. So that's something, as we get this development online and some of the other developments online, we're going to have a discussion as a council whether we're going to enforce the bike lanes or not. I think there was some question whether we could or whether we need an ordinance to do so. But you know, Councilmember Brown being our resident biker back there, you know, having to weave in and out of cars parked in a bike lane, I think is the most frustrating thing for a bicyclist. So not necessarily germane to this discussion, but I like to think a little bit down the line. And as we get more people here, hopefully we'll get more folks walking and biking in this community, and we just need to make it safe for them to do so. And even though I moved across the street, I do walk back here sometimes too, and it's, you know, there are some pressure points even as a pedestrian where, you know, you just kind of walk faster across certain intersections. So I'm sure we can address those issues as we get, you know, buildings up and more dirt moved, but that's something I think we should keep our eyes on.
What's the building timeline on this? Do we know? Are they gonna start right away? And
I'm not sure, but the applicant is here, so.
yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to know, mainly because myself and Councilman Gettle will get complaints about the dust, which is a fair complaint, but they're also gonna have to sort of just, you know, that's part of construction. So I would just like to know the timeline so I can be like, oh, it's, you know, hang in there, because it kind of borders my area now too. So if we just sort of knew that timeline, I could manage it, because I get why people get frustrated, but I also don't necessarily agree that they are, because it's just sort of part of building.
I think they've done a lot of dust mitigation in the past, whether it's just spraying the dirt with water. It's a pretty simple solution, but
There was one build that I felt like got a lot, and maybe it was just windy year or something. That's the only reason why I want to know.
yeah.
Okay.
Would the applicant like to come up?
It's good because we were all looking at you.
Adam Langford, Wasatch Residential Group, 620 South State Street in Salt Lake City. Let me just kind of talk about the project, and then I can get into some of the questions. So not really a lot to add, other than, you know, this was part of the original development agreement in 2017 when we took on this whole sub area. So we're super excited about this. This is the last phase. The construction and the product that we have, we're super excited about. We think it's great architecture. It's going to look good. We've got more open space than what's required. We've got a really good amenity package, so we're super excited about that. As far as the timing goes, we're hoping to start construction this year. So yes, if there's ever a problem where we need to get more water trucks out there to hose things down, and I think somebody mentioned wind, sometimes you just have kind of crazy days. It was windy today, right? Yeah. So yeah, let us know. There'll be a trailer and a project manager on site. As far as the trash, on this piece, this is the first I've heard of it. If that is a problem, we can get somebody out there to clean up the trash. Yeah, we definitely don't want that, since phase 1 and 2 are our communities too. So if that is a problem currently, I'm happy to go back and we can have somebody go out and clean up the trash.
So most of it is just on the south end. What is that, Ivy, right? Of
Yeah.
Ivy, right? Where, and it'll just build up. There'll be like obviously it's not you guys putting mattress, at least I would hope not. Like mattresses and like glass bottles. So when I bike, I'm like, I can't bike here anymore, which I was like very excited when this went in. I'm like, I can get to the parkway a little bit easier.
Gotcha.
We're feeling a little safer because there's not necessarily great connection to get through. And it just is like, hey, we have this new thing and it looks crummy. And you do have to go through and clean it up and get dumpsters. I think we've maybe helped. I don't know if we've ever helped, but as a city, because it would get bad.
If there's a mattress out there, I'll send somebody out to get it. As far as the parking, we've talked internally about this too. In fact, we were talking about it today because they're obviously public streets. But what we've noticed, especially on Sagini, is, and I don't know if it's delivery trucks or what's going on, but you seem to get a lot of bigger delivery type trucks on Sagini, and then they're parked over the line or they're parked in the bike lane on Bingham Junction Boulevard. So if there's anything we can do, we'd like to participate in that, but it's a city road, so, but we have noticed that too. There's just some weird parking scenarios on Sagini. I think people just not parking correctly. But I'm happy to answer any questions. We're ready to get going on this. Obviously, we've been looking at costs and the interest rates, and the world's a little crazy, but we're ready to go.
So for me, just the timeline itself, when you start or let the city know, this could take 2 years or whatever, because I thought you guys do good with your dirt mitigation, mainly because it's a super fun site.
Yes.
But if I can just at least tell people, okay, the plan is another 6 months. I know it stinks, to have dust, but when I don't know, that's when I'm like, I feel unprepared, and I'm like, oh, let me see what I can find out. So if I can just be kept up on the timeline, because my district's just on the other side of the road, and they seem to care.
Yeah, so we've got one step out after this with entitlements, and then we'll be submitting for building plans, and then it's probably, I would count on a full 2 years for construction, maybe less. I mean, we're pretty efficient. We don't do phases, we just go from beginning to end. But as we move through those last couple of steps, I'm sure staff, or if you want to reach out to me, I can let you know when we're ready to actually, put shovels in the ground.
I have a question. Is the dog park that's a part of this project, will that be open to the public, or is that community specific?
It's just community specific. So all the amenities in this project are just community specific.
Because I used to live at Parkview, and there's 2 dog parks there that are for the residents, but it's also impossible to keep just anyone out who wants to use it. And that's typically fine as long as they have well-behaved dogs. But my only concern about the one at Parkview has like gravel as its preferred method. That can be a little tricky. I think it's obviously easier to maintain,
and it's easier to clean up after your dogs.
Yes, it is. Except you kind of get a bag full of like little pieces of gravel. As well. But I would just maybe, if you want to think about like having more of a grass situation, because I think honestly most dogs I think prefer that as well. Rather than.
Yeah, we'll look into that, see what, and we've done, most of our communities now, everybody's got dogs. So, we can look and see which options have worked best.
Obviously, what works best for you guys. For the,
but no, they're very popular.
Are any of these units lower income, or are they all just?
They're not,
market?
no, they're all market. And this is actually, we do have the affordable, the workforce housing across the street. This is a little bit higher end. So it's a nicer, it's got tuck under garages and some different features.
So you have there'll be more parking than, because didn't the affordable ones have less like there was a?
Yes, so there's a whole different parking ordinance for the non tax credit deals, and that's what we're going on. So we meet all that, yes.
Okay.
There's no parking reduction like there's on the affordable.
Okay. That's good.
My guess is that this property will improve the parking that's happening on Sagini Drive now, because I think folks there might just see an empty field, nothing going on there. So
That's true.
Hey, maybe I can park my construction vehicle here. And, when there's more people there, especially during construction, they're probably not going to want to
Yeah.
park there as much. So it's something something else to keep our eye on as well.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Thank you.
Thanks.
This is a public hearing. I would entertain a motion to open up the public comment for the hearing.
Mayor, I move that we open the public hearing.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll enter into public comment. Do we have any public comments on this item? So you may step forward to the microphone and state your name for the record.
Mayor, I move that we close public comment.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, public comment is closed. Thank you. We've got our action item on this. Consider approving the large-scale master plan for Jordan Bluffs Phase 3 located at 8090 South Seguini Drive in the Jordan Bluffs 4 zone. Unless there's any other,
How many units was this? This is more just my curiosity. Again, my thing keeps being goofy. My agenda. If no one knows, we can move on. I'm just curious how many units this adds to this area. It seems like a big spot.
I can answer that.
If it's-
Is he allowed?
yeah, you can come up and answer it.
Yeah.
To say if it was a simple answer, then I could just repeat it, but if it's gonna be more long-winded, then.
It's 216 units on 10 acres. One important note, though, is we had an overall density for all three phases, and we have not met that. We're not maxing out the property like we could. We'd rather have some open space and amenities. 216.
Okay.
So that'll finish out phases 1, 2, and 3.
Adam, can I ask one more question?
Yes.
So since you're back up here, I noticed in the packet as we were scrolling through, there's at least one more pickleball court.
Yeah.
So there's that pickleball court. There's one right across the street.
Yes.
There's one by Zion's Bank.
Okay.
Is there any thought of like maybe including another amenity that's not pickleball? I know pickleball is popular now, but
It's the thing,
we've
yeah.
gotten some people, a lot of people actually, who have kind of said enough pickleball,
Okay.
where there are already enough pickleball
Yeah.
courts for people. So just again,
Yeah, something to
your
think about,
property.
yeah. Yeah, we'll
But-
look into it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no further questions, comments, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we approve the large-scale master plan for Jordan Bluffs Phase 3 located at 8090 South Seguini Drive with the findings in the staff report.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Lori, if you would call roll, please.
Yes, Councilmember Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
And Gettle.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda with just one item, consider minutes of August 20th, 2024. Unless there's any changes to those, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rory, if you would call roll, please.
Yes, Councilmember Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Gettle.
Yes.
And Billings.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. Our only action item tonight, consider resolution number 2024 R42 authorizing the mayor to execute the Art House exterior improvement construction access and transfer agreement with the redevelopment agency of Midvale City. Hear from Cody.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So this item is going to be very similar to a previous item that we had maybe a couple of months ago, where we have a Main Street project. In that case, it was the lighting, the street lighting along Main Street. The RDA applied for a grant from the county to help fund that, but applied on behalf of the city. And so the city was awarded the grant money, but it's an RDA project, so we need an interlocal, a little agreement between the city and the agency, whereby the agency can make the improvement, make sure it's working well, hand it over to the RDA. So this is very similar to that, but it's with the Art House. It's a project where we're making improvements to the patio space behind the Art House, and we're replacing the concrete that's broken and uneven, putting in new concrete pads, a shade structure, and then decorative fencing around it, more as a buffer between the artists that are working and the public than, like a 6-foot privacy fence. That's not something we're looking for, just kind of a smaller decorative fence that it just creates a smaller buffer. So the agreement that we have with Salt Lake County, they're funding $40,800 for these improvements, and the city RDA's matching is $6,500. The deadline to complete it is the end of March, and request reimbursements by the end of June. So this is the agreement between the city and the redevelopment agency of Midvale City. The city has the right to access the art house property to help support and make those improvements, and then pass those improvements over to the RDA after a warranty period. So yeah, that's just a quick description of what the scope of work is for that project. So if there's any questions about that, happy to answer them.
When do you anticipate these changes being made, if approved?
ASAP, we already have quotes from 3 firms, and so we have the quote requirement, and so it's basically just a matter of getting the interlocal agreement approved, selecting one of the 3 quotes, and then getting it done.
And you guys will make the quote decision? You don't have to come back to us for that?
Yes.
Okay.
And to be clear, what is being approved tonight is not an interlocal agreement.
Oh, sorry.
The interlocal agreement was signed with the county for the funds.
Okay, if there's no further questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules and adopt resolution number 2024-R-42, authorizing the mayor to execute the art house exterior improvement construction access and transfer agreement with the redevelopment agency of Midvale City.
Second.
Here we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Rory, if you call roll, please.
Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Gettle.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
And Glover.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Well, that is the end of our council meeting. We do have an RDA meeting, but I would entertain a motion to adjourn council.
Motion to adjourn, council.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Yes.
Okay, we're adjourned. Everybody good? Jump right in.
30-minute break.
Thanks for coming. All right, 7:21 p.m. I will call this meeting to order. Rory, as soon as you're ready, if you would call roll, please.
Yes. Okay, Board Member Glover.
Here.
Billings.
Here.
Gettle.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
And Robinson.
Here.
Thank you. Move into public comments. Any person wishing to comment on any item not otherwise scheduled for a public hearing on the agenda may address the redevelopment agency of Midvale City at this time by stepping on the microphone and giving their name for the record. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda with just one item. Consider minutes of August 6, 2024. Unless there's any changes to those, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Rory, would you call roll, please?
Yes, Board Member Brown.
Yes.
Gettle.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Billings.
Yes.
And Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Thank you. Just one action item tonight. Consider resolution number 2024-23 RDA authorizing the chief administrative officer to execute the art house exterior improvement, construction, access, and transfer agreement with Midvale City. Cody.
Well, it would be interesting if we didn't approve this.
Vehemently opposed. That's a position. Yeah, this is just the inverse of what you just did. Now you're the RDA board, considering the access and transfer agreement to or from Midvale City. So if there's any questions about that, happy to address them.
Okay. Questions, comments? I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules and adopt resolution number 2024-R42, authorizing the mayor to execute the art house exterior improvement, construction, access, and transfer agreement with the redevelopment agency at Midvale City.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Rory, if you call roll, please.
Board Member Gettle.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Billings.
Yes.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Brown.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. No closed session night. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.